Tupac joined Death Row, was Snoop jealous of Tupac joining Death Row?
Snoop definitely was a little razzled because he used to be in Snoop Dogg. And when Pac came, he demanded all the attention and got it.
Suge Knight revealing that, Snoop, he worked with Big Dre after Tupac got. And when I heard that, man, that was wild. For you to be working with somebody that was in the car with Keefy D when Tupac got shot, that's crazy, man.
That's crazy, bro. Like, if you know this dude 100% is in a car with a person that killed your boy, and you do a song with him, it just really shows how you always felt about Pac.
When Snoop, right, when he went to Atlanta, right, and he met up with Biggie, and they met at the hotel, and Biggie was telling him that he had nothing but love for Tupac, because this happened after Tupac got. Did you know anything about that when it happened at the time?
I don't know how accurate it is. That's a Lil C story. That's a Snoop Dogg story.
Many people are saying that the situation between Snoop Dogg and Tupac reflects the saying, "A friend to all is a friend to none." Over the years, Snoop Dogg has been called the ultimate betrayer when it comes to Pac. Even Tupac himself called Snoop out on it before he died.
What about Snoop?
What about him? It's an open, free business. But I just know he'll have more problems without us than he would with us.
And if you look at the history, there are so many moments where Snoop's loyalty to Pac was questioned. First of all, Snoop Dogg's apparent betrayal may have stemmed from the very moment Tupac joined Death Row. A lot of insiders claim that Snoop was jealous when Tupac joined Death Row. Before Pac got there, Snoop was the biggest star on the label. But the moment Pac walked in, he took over, getting all the attention, and that didn't sit well with Snoop.
When Tupac joined Death Row, was Snoop jealous of Tupac joining Death Row?
Snoop definitely was a little razzled because he used to be in Snoop Dogg. And when Pac came, he demanded all the attention and got it. Everybody had to move out the way when Pac got there. Okay?
And that jealousy started creeping into everything. One of the biggest moments that really broke their friendship happened after Tupac dropped "Hit 'Em Up." At that point, things were already tense between Death Row and Bad Boy Records. In 1996, when they were in New York for the MTV Video Music Awards, Snoop started acting funny. First, he skipped out on a rehearsal for a planned Saturday Night Live appearance with Tupac. Then, he went on a local New York radio station and publicly said, "I got nothing but love for Biggie and Puffy." Now, this was obviously a huge slap in the face to Tupac. But according to insiders, Pac wasn't mad just because Snoop said he had love for Biggie. The real reason Tupac was pissed was because just a few days before, Snoop had been in the studio with him recording diss tracks aimed at Biggie and Puffy. And then, out of nowhere, Snoop goes on the radio and acts like everything is cool. That felt like betrayal.
Pac was angry not only because they said, not just because of that interview. A couple weeks before that, people don't know that Pac and Snoop did songs dissing Biggie. I remember hearing it. But Pac looking at it like, come on, man, you were just in LA dissing him with me. Now you on the radio saying something different. You know what I mean? So I think that triggered some type of attention.
Unfortunately, before they ever got the chance to really talk it out, Pac was offed. And Snoop would later say, the reason they never patched things up was because Pac just didn't understand that he never had hate for Biggie.
I don't think we was really on good terms before he died. Because he didn't really understand the way. I didn't really have no hate towards Biggie. I didn't really feel like he should continue to, to get at Biggie.
But to a lot of people, that excuse doesn't make sense. If Snoop never had a problem with Biggie, then why was he in the booth making diss records with Pac in the first place? Why play both sides? A lot of people believe that he was undermining Tupac's feelings, acting like Pac was the one who overreacted. But as bad as that was, what Snoop did after Pac's death was even worse. One of the biggest betrayals came when Snoop supposedly collaborated with one of Tupac's K'ers, Big Dre. Big Dre was allegedly in the car when the shots that offed Pac were fired. A lot of folks point the finger at Orlando Anderson, but others believe Big Dre was the real shooter. And what did Snoop do? He worked with him. After Pac died, Big Dre started his own label, Runoff Records, and put out a mixtape called Hard White. That tape featured some big names, Warren G, MC8, and Snoop Dogg. When that news broke, people were furious. First off, where did Big Dre even get the kind of money to lock in those features? And why was Snoop working with someone who might have had something to do with Pac's death? To a lot of people, that said everything about how Snoop really felt about Pac.
Suge Knight revealing that, Snoop, he worked with Big Dre after Tupac got. And when I heard that, man, that was wild. For you to be working with somebody that was in the car with Keefe D when Tupac got shot, that's crazy, man.
That's crazy, bro. Like, if you know this dude 100% is in the car with a person that your boy, and you do a song with him, it just really shows how you always felt about Pac.
Snoop started switching up. After getting called out, he changed his whole attitude. Suddenly, in every interview, he was praising Pac, acting like they were the best of friends. It looked like damage control, like he was trying to wash his image and make people forget the questionable moves he made after Pac's death. But even while he was praising Pac, he would still slip up. Snoop has been caught twisting the truth or straight up lying about certain moments with Tupac. For instance, Snoop has been called out for fabricating stories about his involvement in Tupac's life, like when Pac was in prison. Snoop once claimed that when Tupac was behind bars, he was in danger and facing serious issues. He went on to say that he was the one who urged Suge Knight to bail Tupac out of prison to keep him safe.
Was Tupac having issues when he was in prison? Because I know Snoop, he always say that he was hearing bad things, so he told Suge Knight to get him out.
However, this story has been refuted by Napoleon, a close friend and member of Tupac's Outlaws crew. Napoleon dismissed Snoop's tale, stating that Tupac was actually well-liked in prison, making friends and taking pictures with people.
But that's a false narrative that I think Snoop was pushing. You know what I mean? Pac, for a fact, he wasn't really, he had a lot of, like, he used to send us pictures, and his pictures on the internet when he was taking pictures with New York dudes up in Clinton. Like, I guess people, they like to say that so then they can vouch for some other rumors that's being spread about Pac to try to put dirt on his name. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a fact they was disliked, he was holding it down.
He mentioned that during their visits to Tupac, Pac never once mentioned feeling threatened or unsafe. According to Napoleon, although Tupac was eager to get out of prison, because, let's be real, who wants to be locked up? It wasn't because Snoop asked Suge Knight to pull some strings.
We used to go visit him monthly, some of us weekly. I can't recall him saying anything where he felt like he was in danger. You know what I mean? Like, not one time. He wasn't like, hey, I'm good. Y'all just go do your thing and leave me alone. No, he wanted to come home, but he definitely wasn't having any issues.
Snoop Dogg's tendency to embellish stories doesn't stop there. Another time he got caught in a lie was about the infamous MTV Video Music Awards incident involving Tupac and Nas. The mid-90s in New York was a wild time for hip-hop, with Nas and Biggie fighting for the title of King of New York, Jay-Z rising up, and Wu-Tang Clan making big moves. It was a competitive and intense scene. When Tupac got involved, it was like adding fuel to an already raging fire. On Nas's second album, The Message, he claimed the King of New York crown and threw shots at Biggie and Jay. But somehow Pac thought the opening line, "Fake thug, no love, you get the slug, CB4 gusto," was aimed at him. Suddenly, Nas was caught in the crossfire of Tupac's growing list of enemies, alongside Biggie, Puff Daddy, and Bad Boy Records. Things were made even worse by the fact that Nas was rolling with Mobb Deep, who had their own beef with Pac. The tension between Tupac and Nas came to a head at the 1996 MTV Video Music Awards, where the two bumped into each other. Snoop Dogg later told a story about this encounter, claiming that Nas had rolled in with about 100 shooters from Queens who started to surround the Death Row crew. According to Snoop, Nas didn't want any trouble, not because he couldn't handle it, but because he chose to keep the peace. Snoop described how Pac was going off on Nas, throwing insults, completely unaware that Nas's crew had them surrounded and could have easily taken them out.
But Nas had 100 with guns.
Right.
So listen to what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
By me saying he didn't want none didn't mean he didn't punk out.
Snoop's version painted Pac as a reckless hothead and Nas as a cool, collected leader. But here's the kicker. Snoop wasn't even there when this went down. According to Napoleon, who was actually there as one of Tupac's crew, Snoop's version of the story is completely off. Instead of the tense showdown Snoop described, Napoleon says Tupac and Nas were pretty respectful toward each other when they crossed paths. Pac never disrespected Nas like Snoop claimed. In fact, it was more of a mutual respect thing. They talked it out and cleared up the misunderstanding between them right there.
Pac wasn't disrespecting Nas at all. You know, I know Snoop said Pac punked Nas and then went to Snoop and said, you see how I got these New York dudes? None of that happened, bro. It was a mutual respect thing. When Pac and Nas met each other, it was nobody talking disrespect from both sides. Maybe the people behind Nas and the people behind Pac was mean mugging, saying certain things, but Pac and Nas handled it like real gentlemen.
Pac even went as far as to promise that once he got back to LA, he would remove Nas's name from any diss tracks where it was mentioned. Sadly, Tupac was offed shortly after and never got the chance to follow through. To top it off, Napoleon also doesn't remember Snoop being there at all during this incident.
And then Pac literally told him, he said, look, I got songs dissing you. When I go back to LA, I'm gonna remove every verse that I mentioned your name in. But Pac couldn't do it because he passed away. I don't remember Snoop being there, definitely. I don't remember Snoop being there at all. Unless he was like in the cut somewhere, like, you know what I mean? When nobody saw him but him, but I don't remember him being there.
Nas himself even confirmed that Snoop got the story wrong.
I heard Snoop told the story a few times, but he had it wrong a little bit. He had said that Pac slipped him, and nobody was really there. Yeah, we had a great combo, man.
Another interesting thing is that not too long ago, Snoop admitted in an interview on Big Boy TV that he wasn't really a fan of Tupac's diss tracks, adding another layer to their complicated dynamic.
Even when he played Hit 'Em Up the song, I didn't like the song.
Did you feel like it was
I didn't
too
like
much?
it. You buying more problems, cuz.
Napoleon and Reggie Wright Jr. were absolutely blown away by Snoop's words because apparently it was just another one of Snoop's lies.
He was expressing his love for Hit 'Em Up. He was in the studio bopping his head. He was on the stage when Pac was performing it, singing the lyrics with him at the House of Blues.
Snoop's a lie. Look at him on the stage at the House of Blues. Look at him.
Another person who fell victim to Snoop Dogg's many lies was Biggie. Snoop has always maintained that he and Biggie Smalls were cool and had a good relationship, but according to Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, who spoke out in an interview on the Art of Dialogue podcast, that's not the whole story. Deal revealed that, in reality, Biggie didn't like Snoop at all and had no respect for him.
Big got in that studio and said, I don't know why this Snoop's calling me. I'm not telling this where I'm at.
He even questioned why Snoop's supposedly tight relationships with both Biggie and Tupac weren't more evident before they passed away. Deal suggested that Snoop's stories about being close to both Biggie and Pac are just convenient narratives for the media. You know, I'm the peacemaker, I'm the one showing love, I'm the one out here trying to bring everyone together, Deal said, implying that Snoop's tales might be more about creating a certain image than reflecting the truth. Deal went on to point out that it wasn't all love between Snoop and Biggie until after Pac was dead. He questioned, wasn't Big out in California 3-4 weeks and Snoop never saw him? Snoop never came and smoked anything with him, never came and ate with him. But there was a lot of love? Come on, man.
When you be seeing these interviews with Snoop speaking on Biggie, how does that make you feel?
That's propaganda for the media, bruh. That's something that sounds good for the media. Pac actually you was going to Vegas and the whole 9 yards, and he didn't say nothing to you, or he said some slick to you, or whatever, this, that, and the third. It wasn't all that love until Pac was dead.
Since the notorious B.I.G.'s death in 1997, Snoop Dogg has often talked about how much he respected the Brooklyn legend. In a 2018 interview on the Rap Radar podcast, Snoop shared a story about a heartfelt conversation he had with Biggie after Tupac's death. The chat happened after a shooting incident during the filming of Thaw Dog Pound's NYNY video in Brooklyn. Snoop explained that, at the time, he and his crew believed Biggie had something to do with the shooting. However, due to the intense East Coast versus West Coast beef, they decided not to retaliate. But things took a different turn after Tupac died. Snoop later ran into Biggie in Atlanta, and that's when they had a real talk. Snoop recalled, "It's just me and him, one-on-one, and he's telling me how much he loved Tupac and that he never wanted him to die. Biggie admitted he was wrong for some of the things he said and did. He was straight up apologizing to me like a man." Snoop went on to explain that he never really blamed Biggie for the shooting incident, stating, "That was a Dog Pound video, not a Tupac video. And yeah, we got shot at, and it felt like it was coming from Biggie's side, but no one got hit, so we let it slide. After Biggie apologized, we squashed the beef and became friends again." However, when asked to verify if that meeting in Atlanta really happened, Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, said he couldn't confirm it because he wasn't there. Gene did raise an eyebrow over Snoop's story, though. He found it odd that Snoop would claim he spent time with Biggie in Atlanta but never saw him in LA. "I can see you in Atlanta, but I can't see you in California in my own hometown. So you're saying you're so gangsta you can roll up to Biggie's hotel room solo in Atlanta, but in California you can't see him? All right then," Gene said, clearly casting doubt on Snoop's version of events.
I wasn't there, brother. I don't know how accurate it is. That's a Lil C story. That's a Snoop Dogg story. But I can see you in Atlanta, but I can't see you in California at my own hometown. Huh?
After Biggie was mothered and Suge Knight was locked up, Snoop decided he wanted out of Death Row Records. The main reason? Snoop was tired of all the drama and wanted to put an end to the beef between Bad Boy and Death Row, especially since Suge was pissed at Snoop for keeping in touch with Puff Daddy. When Snoop tried to discuss this with Suge, he got a hostile response. On top of that, Snoop was not cool with Suge's remarks at the Source Awards where he dissed Puffy for always appearing in his artist's music videos, especially since Snoop ended up doing similar things himself later on. Their relationship got so bad that there were even rumors Suge wanted Snoop dead. It got to the point where Master P, the founder of No Limit Records, had to step in and pay a few $1 million to get Snoop out of his Death Row contract. After that, Suge hinted that Snoop was a snitch. According to rumors, in 1998, Snoop told the police he felt his life was in serious danger after leaving Death Row. A memo from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department even suggested that Snoop told a sheriff's lieutenant that Suge Knight was behind Tupac's MDR. However, no charges were ever brought up based on that memo.
He tried to accuse and told the sheriff that Suge Knight was the one that Tupac. It's in the police report.
This whole snitch accusation came up again a few years ago when rapper 6ix99ine talked about those documents, suggesting Snoop might have been working with the police.
Snoop Dogg's paperwork right here. Snoop Dogg's paperwork for everyone to see. Everybody to see. Snoop Dogg's paperwork.
Snoop fired back, saying, "People know I ain't have nothing to do with Suge Knight getting time. We had the same lawyers. This rat's just reaching, calling me a snitch, and for the record, he probably drew up the papers himself. He works with the police. Suge and I are on great terms now, so if I had snitched on him, we wouldn't be cool. And that's a fact." Another one of Snoop's many lies extends to his exaggerated attempts to portray himself as more of a gangster than he actually is. Like that one incident where he got caught fabricating a story about helping the director of Training Day film in a Bloods-dominated neighborhood. According to Snoop, he had ordered a blue tracksuit from the wardrobe for the movie. When he arrived on set, he realized it was a Blood neighborhood. So, he claimed he asked to speak to the local OG, who coincidentally rolled up in a wheelchair like the one Snoop was using in the film. Snoop said he ended up buying $300 worth of weed from the guy as a peace offering, which supposedly allowed them to continue shooting. But the real story was later found out that Snoop Dogg didn't do any of that. In fact, the Bloods attacked him by throwing bottles at his trailer, and it was someone else who stepped in to calm things down while Snoop hid in the trailer, scared. Spice One, the gangsta rap pioneer, recently shared this story during an interview with The Art of Dialogue. He recalled how a group of Bloods, who are rivals to the Crips, were harassing Snoop on the set of the 2001 movie. Spice One said he was alerted to the gang members throwing bottles at Snoop's movie trailer. After making his way over to the set, he managed to defuse the situation. "I'm out in LA and my OG Crip homie hit me up. He was like, 'Spice, they're at Snoop's trailer. There are some Blood guys over there throwing bottles at his trailer,' he recalled. He didn't say Blood guys because, you know, he's not going to say that, but that's what he meant. I was like, oh, so in so many words he told me to go over there and try to calm them down. They'll listen to you. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, man, they don't know me. Why would they listen to me? But since the OG told me to go, I went."
Throwing, bottles at Snoop trailer. He didn't say Blood because, he ain't gonna say that, but, that's what he tell me. And I barely understand him, but I got it. I understood him. Since the OG did go over there and holler at him and try to calm him down, because I think they was throwing bottles at the trailer, at Snoop's trailer.
When Spice One arrived at the Training Day shoot, just his presence alone was enough to calm the Bloods and stop their attack on Snoop. So, I go over there. They see me, and they're like, "Damn, Blood, that looks like Spice One. Blood," he continued. I'm like, "It is me. Y'all got any weed? What's happening?" I told them, "Man, they're saying y'all were throwing bottles at Snoop's trailer and stuff. They're about to call the police. We need to get out of here before they come." And they were like, "Okay, cool, let's bounce. Nobody wants to deal with the police anyway." So we bounced, walked around the corner, and started smoking some weed while waiting for the cops to show up. They drove through, looked around, and left. I dapped up the guys, then went to Snoop's trailer and hung out with him for a bit, smoking some weed or whatever. I don't think he even knew what I was there for. Snoop Dogg is definitely still respected in the hip-hop community, but all these little missteps are starting to make people question that respect.